The Glock 19 Gen 5 is one of Glock's newest offerings. The Gen 5 line of pistols features all the best improvements on Glock pistols. That being said, there is always room for improvement, because why settle for less when you can have the best? Hey everybody, welcome back to Next Level. Delson here again, and today we're going to go over the top 5 secret Glock 19 Gen 5 hacks that you probably didn't know. Make sure to watch until number 1, because it's one of the best hacks for the Glock 19 Gen 5 that I've ever seen. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, it'll help the channel out. Now let's get down to brass tacks with our first entry. 5. Make use of Gen 5 aftermarket parts. The first and most obvious Gen 5 hack is to make use of the extensive aftermarket parts for the Gen 5. It's been years since the 5th generation of Glocks made their debut, and with that we have plenty of aftermarket options to choose from custom slides and triggers to additional parts and attachments for your piece. The options are literally limitless, at least within logic and reason, of course. You should make use of aftermarket options and customize your Glock to match your needs. Customizing your Glock improves its performance and your ability to use it, so when push comes to shove, you shove back. 4. Using base plates or Magwells to compensate for that annoying half-moon cutout. Anyone who has a Gen 5 Glock or has experienced firing with a Gen 2 Glock will know the dread and straight-up annoyance caused by that cursed half-moon cutout on the base of the grip. It's argued to improve reloading by providing a more secured and tactile grip on the magazine. However, it does nothing but detract from the Glock's performance, because that measly little gap reduces a shooter's grip, which affects the stability of the firearm and the shooter's overall ability. Thank God for aftermarket parts, because you can remedy this drawback by attaching either a base plate or a magwell. Attaching a base plate improves grip by occupying the gap of the half-moon cutout and providing more grip space, which results in a more stable grip to the shooter, while the magwell essentially does the same thing. A magwell provides a beveled slope that improves grip by providing a more stable and secure platform for shooters. What differentiates it is the added reload improvement thanks to the magwell. It improves your grip and increases reload speed for better performance overall. Although some Gen 5s are slowly phasing out the half-moon cutout, so that's a massive improvement on our book. Number 3. Using older generation slides. What Glock lacks is customizability. It more than makes up for with the sheer size of aftermarket options. Glock has an impressive catalog of aftermarket parts, enabling gun owners to customize their piece to match their style or preference. Folks have been doing it since the older generations of Glocks, so it stands to reason that you can do it with the newer Gen 5. Previously, swapping out the slides of Gen 4s and replacing it with Gen 3s is a viable option for those wanting to use parts of previous models on their newer piece. While it's certainly doable, the slide-lock slide release wasn't ambidextrous, so you still need to punch a hole on the intended frame to accommodate that. With the Gen 5, you no longer have to alter your Glock's frames, thanks to its ambidextrous slide-lock slide release. Just disassemble your Gen 4 or Gen 3 Glock and retrieve the slide-lock slide release. Afterwards, go over your Gen 5 piece and do the same thing. Disassemble and remove the slide lock. Now, you can place the slide and the slide lock of older models on your Gen 5 frame. You'll also need to swap out the backplates depending on the model. Performance-wise, it'll work the same and still shoot well. However, you may notice a gap on your piece if you're using the slides of an older model. This won't affect the gun's performance, but it looks ugly as hell. Fortunately, there's an easy fix for this. Just purchase an adapter online and you're good to go. Number 2. Replace Gen 5. Trigger with triggers from older models. Glocks have a well-established reputation for the reliability and smooth performance of their firearms. They're the go-to handgun of law enforcement agencies, and a common sight in movies and TV shows. What they are not known for is the feel of their trigger. Glock triggers are weird, to say the least. They're not bad, but they're not exactly good as well. Folks have been replacing Glock triggers with aftermarket triggers either for aesthetic or ergonomic reasons. The same principle applies to Gen 5. Whether the trigger feels weird or too hard to pull, you can easily swap out the trigger for a newer one. To be fair, the OEM trigger on the Gen 5 is miles ahead of the older models. But let's say that you happen to have an older model Glock, or just like a trigger on that one. You'll be glad that you can also replace Gen 5 triggers with older models. Just follow the first steps of the previous entry. Disassemble your older and newer pieces and remove the slides. For this to work, you'll need a Gen 4 trigger housing. Doesn't matter if the trigger bar or the trigger itself is Gen 4 or Gen 3, as long as you've got a Gen 4 trigger housing, you're A-OK. Your Gen 5 piece will take it. Replacing the Gen 5 trigger with your trigger of choice results in superbly better handling and performance. And since the Gen 5 plungers are better optimized than older generations, trigger pull is substantially improved. With a better trigger and optimized trigger pull, you can expect optimal performance. Number 1. The long slide method. And at number 1 is the long slide method. Glock's tried and tested reliability made them perfect for concealed carry. Smaller and shorter models of the Glocks are ideal firearms for everyday carry because of their light and nimble size that makes it easy to conceal them. But a common issue with smaller guns is the recoil due to a shorter barrel length, which increases muzzle rise significantly. While lots of brands have made strides with small carry firearms, some folks are just not willing to depart from their Glock or are on a tight budget, so they can't just buy a new one. Fortunately, there's a quick and easy solution for anyone who has a spare Glock, because now you can replace the slides on your smaller Glocks with the Gen 5's newer slide. This is literally the same thing and works the same way as the third entry, but let's just roll with it. You already know the gist of it. Disassemble, remove the slide, and replace it with the Gen 5 slide. It works really, and the added barrel length reduces muzzle rise and improves your overall accuracy. You'll notice a glaring gap with the Gen 5's longer barrel. Don't worry, that can be easily remedied with a slide adapter. Doing this still allows you to carry your Glock, with added improvement of a slightly longer barrel that reduces muzzle rise and improves muzzle velocity, which in turn reduces recoil and significantly improves your accuracy. An additional improvement it provides is the Gen 5's front serrations. These enable shooters to rack the slide faster. And that concludes this video. Did you find any of the hacks here noteworthy? Or do you have a nifty Glock hack of your own? Well, don't keep us waiting and share it down in the comments. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos of the best and boldest firearms in the market and much more. Check out this playlist of my videos and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.